Did you guys know that the Toyota 4Runner is the most popular truck that we sell products for on Headlight Revolution? That being said, it would be foolish of us not to find the best and brightest LED bulb out there. In this video, I'm going to go through a bunch of different bulbs and find the best and the brightest bulb and tell you exactly how we came up to that conclusion. So let's get to the testing. So how does Headlight Revolution actually test these bulbs? Well, we use a digital lux meter and measure the actual usable light at a single point on the wall. To do this, you back the truck up 25 feet like we did right here. Then you start with your baseline. Baseline being the stock halogen bulbs that this Toyota 4Runner comes with. The low beam is an H11, the high beam is a 9005. In this case, on low beam, they came in at 210 maximum lux. On high beam, they came in at 490 maximum lux. We don't generally measure lumens because lumens is totally irrelevant. What you want to know is that brightest point. That allows us to compare the rest of the bulbs. Alright, so the first bulb that I'm going to test against this stock halogen bulb is the Ultra 2 bulb. The GTR Lighting bulb has been super popular and we use it all of the time, because it's got some of the best beam patterns on any headlight that we tested on, and it's one of the brightest bulbs we've ever found. It's fan driven, has a good driver, and the chipset is in the correct spot. On low beam, these LED bulbs came in at 750 maximum lux. That is 257% brighter than stock. Now, the percent change is probably what you should be looking at. These lux numbers are only valid in this test. If you move the truck up another foot or two, or move it back another foot or two, you'll get a completely different lux number. So make sure you only pay attention to the percent change. Now for high beam, we had the Xenon Depot Xtreme LED Pro bulb in every single one of these. The reason being, this is one of the only bulbs that will actually work in this Toyota 4Runner when DRL mode is engaged. When your headlights are turned off during the day, a DRL mode appears from the high beam bulb. If you put in an LED bulb there, they'll flicker. Every single bulb that we have tested here flickers when it goes into DRL mode. So I don't recommend any other bulb except for the Xtreme LED Pro from Xenon Depot. Xenon Depot has created this PWM module called the PWM DRL Driver. This is what allows the Xenon Depot Xtreme LED Pro bulb to not flicker on DRL mode. Here's what the Ultra 2 and the Xenon Depot bulb look like together. Compared to stock, on high beam, it's 332% brighter. Speaking of Xtreme LED Pro, let's put that in the low beam and show you what it looks like. On low beam, the brightest point comes to 620 maximum lux. That's 195% brighter than stock. So yes, it's brighter, but not quite as bright as the Ultra 2. On the plus side, every one of these bulbs that I'm going to show you on the wall do fit with the dust cover back on. The factory dust cover needs to go back on the headlight in order to give you a good seal, so you don't have moisture, dust, and debris inside your housing. The next bulb we tested was the SV4 bulb. This bulb has been extremely popular because it generally comes out on top. In this case, on low beam, it comes in at 820 maximum lux. That's 290% brighter than stock. So far, the SV4 bulb is the brightest on low beam. The next bulb that we tried to put in this 4Runner is this bronzy, gold, and blue bulb. It doesn't have a name, and here's why. This thing doesn't even fit. This is something that you guys probably run into all the time. We hear it hundreds of times over, and that's why we're making this video. Since we can kind of push it in there and twist it, we do have a light output on the wall, but as you can see, it's pathetic. This is not what you want. It comes in at 90 maximum lux. That is 57% less bright than your stock. You do not want a bulb that doesn't fit like this blue and gold one. I guess that's what you get when you don't have a name on the bulb. The next bulb we tested was FS Light. It's this gold bulb and it's a multi-sided bulb. Now we have a video explaining exactly why you do not want to use a multi-sided LED. You want an LED chip to look exactly like that wire wound filament replicating your stock halogen bulbs. If you want to learn more about that, Chris goes on over it and you can click the link in the description below. Now, weirdly enough, this bulb looks a lot like these other bulbs that we have here, and it's probably because it's from the same manufacturer with another name. What I've learned is they slap a bunch of names on the same bulb, change the color a little bit, and just see what sticks. They throw it at a wall, whatever sticks is what sells. On low beam, this comes in at 60 maximum lux. That's 71% less bright than stock. Obviously, it's not what you want. As you can see, there's not even a hot spot here. It's completely gone. You cannot see. This is less bright than your fog lights. Not to mention the fitment is terrible. Now we got the OP7 bulb. As you can see, the driver's side is aiming all over the place. It's because I can't physically adjust the bulb. It did fit, it did lock in. However, the chipset is not in the right spot. So you get this terrible looking beam pattern. On low beam, it comes in at 110 maximum lux. That's 47% less bright than stock. Guys, stay away from the Op7, it's terrible. Speaking of adjustable collars, you should probably get a bulb that isn't a crazy adjustable collar. When you put this in, it's all over the place. However, it seems pretty small, like it'll fit just like another bulb that I'm gonna show you soon. This is called the Small 7. It's a new bulb we found on Amazon, so we figured we'd give it a try. Now it is 540 maximum lux on low beam, which is 157% brighter than stock. However, it doesn't even come close to the Ultra 2, the SV4, or the Xtreme LED Pro. All right, let's get to the next bulb. An oldie but a goodie, the CSP Mini bulb. Not generally the brightest bulb that we test, but it's the best fitting bulb. As you can see on the wall, it's not a terrible beam pattern. It comes in at 490 maximum lux. It is 133% brighter than stock. However, it's not the brightest one we tested. The last bulb we're gonna throw in this 4Runner is the 2-stroke 3.0. Now, the 2-stroke 3.0 is very intelligently engineered. It's got a bunch of bells and whistles that makes this bulb significantly better than most. It's got modern technology. I would say this is the most modern bulb you're gonna put in your truck today. Now on low beam, it comes in at 610 maximum lux, which is 190% brighter than stock. This is an excellent choice. And another thing to note is that it'll actually heat up the inside of the lens. So if you're driving in Minnesota like we did all the time, or if you're driving where it's sleeting more often than not, this is probably the bulb you want. This will actually melt the snow right off your headlight as it runs for a while. Before we go any further and I show you how to do the install, I gotta let you guys know something. These bulbs are not technically street legal. However, they do fit in the housing. Some do project a very good beam pattern, and it's definitely a good improvement over stock. However, they're just not street legal. So I would suggest, if you're gonna be installing these, you might as well do them off-road so you don't get into any trouble. So we did just that. We installed them when we were off-road, driving in the mountains. We were there for a week and we camped. We had an incredible time and we used these in the real world to make sure that what we're telling you guys is actually true. That these look good, they're reliable, and it's something you would want to put in your truck. This is why we brand all of these bulbs as HR tested. If you see HR tested, it's because we actually went out and tested them. We tested them inside the studio here and we tested them in the middle of nowhere. Now let's show you how to install these bad boys. Now installing these LED bulbs is super easy because that is all accessed through here. You don't have to take apart the front end, so that's what we love here. Let's get to it. You do not have to take the headlight off for this. I'm just showing it to you with the headlight off so you can see what I'm doing. As you can see here, here's low beam. This is the one with the dust cover. Take the dust cover off, reach in there, turn the halogen bulb counterclockwise, pull it out and unplug it. There's a little tab. Make sure you lift that tab on the connector. The bulb will come free. In this case, I'm gonna install the SV4 bulb because the SV4 bulb in the low beam was the brightest. It had the best beam pattern and I really enjoyed the color. Grab the connector of that bulb, plug it in, test it to make sure that the polarity is correct. If for some reason it doesn't turn on, take that connector off, turn it 180 degrees and plug it back in. Now I know you have a driver here, so the driver does fit on the inside of this housing. You can push it to the side as you work it that way. Once you've tucked the driver, you can now install the bulb. Push it in, turn it clockwise. Remember, the dust cover is super important. Push the dust cover on, turn that clockwise, and you're good to go. Now let's do the high beam bulb. Remember, this is the Xenon Depot Xtreme LED Pro, and this one is even more accessible. Grab the bulb and turn it counterclockwise. The halogen bulb removes super easy. One thing to note, remember, when this dims down to a DRL, you need to have the LED DRL driver connected, not just this LED driver that comes with the box. On headlightrevolution.com, this is already made into a kit, so when you do purchase the high beam bulb for the 4Runner, you will get the LED DRL driver. Now grab the end of that driver, plug it back into the OEM connector, and turn it clockwise. You might have to work it a little bit. They are adjustable if need be. Make sure that the LEDs are facing left and right. This will give you the best beam pattern for the high beam. Another thing I suggest now is to spread out these heatsink fins. This will disperse the heat properly so they last even longer. This is what they recommend at Xenon Depot so we can get the most out of these bulbs. Guys, as you can see, it's that easy to install some LED bulbs in your 4Runner. Now, like I said, there's a lot of other great options out there like the Morimoto XB, so definitely check those out. We've got an XTR LP, it goes over your license plate, it's super bright. We also have a video with John where we go over the Morimoto taillights in depth as well, the install and review. So like I said, guys, hopefully this video helps you. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. We really appreciate it. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you on the next one.